shit. Last episode, we talked a little bit about bringing in the newcomers, helping out the new guy. This week, we're going to talk about the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat.
Can't have the highs without the lows. So stay tuned, we'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. Well, this week, we're going to spotlight on a little bit different deal. We are at week 5 at Lucas Oil Speedway, and there is definitely a new sheriff in town, and his name is Derek Brown. He is setting the world on fire, and he even brought a posse with him. He's got Tim Brown, his dad, and Burl Woods. They've got some fine cars, and they are smoking it. They have a whole new attitude about racing. They have a whole new setup about racing, and they are making it work for them. That is something that's tough for all of us veterans. It's been doing good over there for the last few years. I haven't made the tech shed yet. These guys have it going on. We shouldn't let it get us too bothered, because this is how we get faster. Every year when I go to Batesville or travel around, when I come back, I'm always faster than I was before I left. So what we need to really do is just keep our head down, our head in the game, and keep working. We're going to get there. We're going to get fast. This two-barrel deal has changed a lot about how we drive and everything to do with our race cars. So we can't just abandon what we have planned in our racetracks. So let's stay with all that, keep our cars going, let's keep them going fast. I know that one of the first things everybody often wants to say is they're cheating. Well, they ain't cheating no more or no less than we are. They're doing a fine job.
Definitely no less.
No less, for sure. They're doing a good job, and they're having fun with it. Let's let them enjoy it, and then we'll get to where we're caught up with them.
I think one of the important things to remember is, don't get down. We see cycles like this. Every year there's somebody that's hot. Every year, in the previous years, we had Hendricks that won, 12, 13 races.
Yeah.
Shoot was the hot guy before that. We've had 3 great years just, personally, in the past with championships and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I see it. I'm almost a little excited. It gives me a chance, a reason to go back and learn something new, to try and study. I think I've studied more YouTube footage and still photos this week than I have in a long time. And from everything like this, there's opportunities to be gained.
Correct. And one of these days, we're going to have some incredibly fast cars. That's why Lucas Oil Speedway has the fastest straight stocks. And I challenge anybody that wants to come race to come on up here. We pay $400 nightly to win, and we have the big buck 50 at the end of the year that's worth some pretty serious change as well. It's just a learning curve we're having to go through, and it shouldn't upset anyone. Let's stay true to our roots. Let's always stay sportsmanlike and professional. You know, I'm not saying anybody hasn't. I'm just saying that it's going to come. People are going to get tired of getting beat, and
Sure.
we got to stay.
You gotta stay hooked.
Stay the course. Some people are going to say, "Oh, you know, speed can be bought." That's not necessarily so. Hard work and determination will always get there at the end of the game.
It's a process. It's a process, and it does take a total package. And you can get so far with one or the other, but like I said, it's a process, and when you have both of them combined, that's when it gets really tough to beat.
Correct. And if we keep our minds right, let's take the high road. Let them guys enjoy what they got going on right now, and let's watch their stuff. That's why we all got videos and cameras everywhere. Do a little investigation. Don't be afraid to try something that you have never tried before. This 2-barrel really changes a lot. I don't think anyone expected how much that it was going to change. At the end, we just gotta keep going. Stay true to our class.
Well, and it's like Laney Askins told us one time. You remember Laney?
Yeah, I remember Laney very well. That's when the Mr. Second deal started.
And we wanted to be mad. We wanted to be mad. And he looked me in the eye one night and he told me, he's like, "Don't be mad at me." He goes, "I'm making you faster. I'm making you faster." And that's what's going to happen. We already do. Generally, cars from our area do pretty good when we go out of town. And when we run onto a deal like this, it's only going to make it better.
Correct. You know, we are treating this class as though we are late models, or we are traveling USMTS series. So this is part of the deal. How many times do you see a guy set fast time on the open late models, and the next night gets lapped?
True,
That happens, and you can't tell me that guy's impressed with that.
Right, and I think the faster, the more advanced these cars get, that that bubble you're riding on is going to become more extreme. Like you said, you see a lot of times in late models and modifieds, this guy wins 3 races in a row, and all of a sudden he gets lapped this next night. And like you said, you just got to keep doing your homework and keep digging.
Being an expert at reading what the track's going to do is becoming an essential thing. It's been pretty simple lately. It's been every night, wide open, and that's going to become a very critical part of what's going on.
And that will change too. Track conditions will change. About mid-August we'll be wishing for some water. But
right now, this is the hand we're dealt. We all got to race on it wherever we go. One of the great things about racing street stocks is that we can travel from track to track, even across state lines, and race against our buddies. I think that if you race a street stock, we're a buddy. If you race a street stock at Lucas Oil Speedway, I'm going to call you a friend. So we need to stick together. I hate seeing people or hearing people talking about maybe going to some other track because they don't like how they're running at one track. I think we're better than that. I think that everyone that races and steps up, and look at the quality of the paint jobs and the fabrication work that's going on at the cars at Lucas Oil Speedway. That is nothing to ever be ashamed of. So let's all stick together. I think it's going to be we will all win in the end because of it. And keep in mind, we got a lot of eyes watching us, whether they're old and stubborn or young and full of excitement and want to be racers. We get to race. We all have tracks close to us. We all get to race everywhere. So let's don't get too aggravated about nothing. Let's just all strive to get going faster. It's time for us to go fast. We're coming out of the stone age into growing pain. So hard work always will get you there.
I think it's important to have a good plan. Like he said, we've struggled as hard as anybody this year.
Oh, yeah.
We've sat down and we come up with a plan. First thing you have to do is determine, are these guys going that much faster or am I going slower? And there is a chance, with some of the changes that we've incurred this last year, that maybe the things that were working for us before aren't necessarily working the way they were. Maybe we are going a little slower. So maybe if you could get back to your baseline, that's one of the things we're going to work on. Work back, get to a baseline, and just go from there. Make sure, give the car a good nut and bolt check. Make sure you don't have half of your hind joints on the shocks are seized up. I I see so many cars.
When was the last time the right front spring was pulled out, you know, mud was dug out from under the car?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that right there gave you how much bite?
I see so many cars that have good equipment on it, but it hasn't been maintained properly, or it gets overlooked. We all have lives, we're all busy. But I can tell you, when people are on top of their game the way them boys are on the top of their game, everything is right.
Everything's right, and that's going to make us all elevate to their level. You know, wouldn't it be great when I think Lucas is on his way to being talked about as Batesville or the Why Not stuff with those other guys down there?
Sure.
You know, wouldn't it be great if it was known, this area was known as where you go race the street stock, and you are acted and treated like a late model guy. You know, that's cool. That's what's going to get the media and the sponsors and actually help your life and help your racing career along. You know, whether we all have jobs, I'm not looking for a real career, but it makes it easier and therefore less stressful, more fun. You know, that's really, we pretty well beat that to death, I think.
You want to go take a break?
Let's take a break. Let's take a break.
Okay.
Thanks.
Need ammo? Remember the Alamo. Looking for handguns, rifles, shotguns, ammo, or reloading components? Remember the Alamo. Alamo Arms in Montreal has a huge selection of new and pre-owned firearms and accessories like scopes, powders, and primers, hunting permits, and of course, ammo. Alamo Arms also buys, sells, and trades for guns, ammo, and reloading supplies.
Remember the Alamo!
Locally owned Alamo Arms in Montreal, next to the post office.
Have you lost your spark, missed excitement and passion? There's a simple cure, and we have it right here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Indulge your motorsports passion with late model racing, sprint cars, modifieds, pro pulling, monster trucks, even drag boats. Cheer for all your local and national heroes as they celebrate the heartland tradition of American racing. No one has more adrenaline-fueled, high-octane, fire-breathing, earth-shaking thrills than Lucas Oil Speedway. There's great food, cool refreshments, and amusements for all ages. The nation's finest motorsports and a world of family entertainment. Get down to Lucas Oil Speedway, America's newest family fun destination.
First up is Derek Brown. Derek Brown, I've known him. The first time I seen him, I think he was laying in a baby carriage, actually. His dad's raced and has taught us all how to race for many years, Tim Brown. I've bought several of Tim's race cars. I can't say anything more about the drive that family has as far as racing goes. They are really top notch. So we're going to have an interview from Derek from last week, which was a very good week for him, and we'll get back.
My name's Derek Brown. This is my 2016 TJR. Got a Rubel motor in it. Runs pretty good. This is be my fourth night on it, and I've won 2. Been racing for 10 years or so. Yeah, I usually come home from work on Thursday nights, and Friday and all day Saturdays working on the car. Sunday I leave again. I work on the road most of the time. I travel around a lot and run a lot of the bigger street stock shows. Ran a B-Mod for the last 2 years, and that wasn't a good idea, so I'm back in one of these. Raced in Arkansas, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Wisconsin. I go all over. It's nice to come here on Saturday nights. If you can win here, you can win anywhere. That's pretty much it. Got the best cars around, I think. Well, for one, it's the closest track to my house that runs on Saturday night. And it's just, you can usually get people to come help here. You don't have to roll around in the dirt or nothing. They like that. It's pretty much just me through the week, and then I get some stragglers on the weekend that'll come help me. Most of them race themselves, so when they're not racing, they'll come. When they're racing, we're all together anyway. It's all brand new car and brand new motor. Just kind of right out of the gate right now with it. Thank Jim Rubel. It wouldn't run like this if it wasn't for him. AFCO shocks, they're new this year. They seem to be pretty decent. Odell Trucking. That's pretty well it.
That was our interview with Derek. Like Kenny said, we've known that family for a long time, and we're pretty happy for him. Three wins out of 4 races this year is pretty good.
His night got even better after the interview, I believe.
Next up is Burl Woods. Burl's another guy that we have raced with since early 2000s.
Early, yes.
He always been a goodwill man. Has a great passion for racing, to say the least, and he'll tell you a story if you want to hear it.
Yeah, if you got time.
And he has the best haircut, besides myself, of any other racer at the track. So
Yeah.
Anyway, here's our interview with Burl.
I'm Burl Woods, the driver of the 135 Odell Trucking. Been racing quite a few years, I think 18 now. I struggled a little bit last year. Started this year out 2016 with a new TJR, Motorsports factory stock, or street stock now they're called here at Lucas. We struggled quite a bit, like I said. Didn't know what direction to go, and I raced Tony in the late model deal years back and had a relationship with him back in 2012 on a car that we were seemed like unstoppable with, and kind of had a falling out with that car owner and moved on, kind of built my own stuff, and we were really good 13, 14, but 15, man, it was just a tough year for us. Really struggled. We had a good race, won the 5,000 down at Tri-State Speedway, but really couldn't get a hold of this Lucas Oil Speedway at all. And Tony and Tim teamed up, and they built some awesome race cars last year, and Tim had a lot of success. Come down to Monette Speedway and put a butt whooping on me at the 4th State, and ever since then I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to do something with my car. So we talked to Tony, and me and Jim decided we'll go I'll quit building cars and just be a driver. And man, I can't say enough about them. We started out down at Tri-State. We went down there for the spring race and had a flat, running good, and just had a flat, and didn't finish the race, and then came here for the spring nationals. We started out in practice. We were just, something was amiss on the new car. I just didn't have a feel for it, and we talked to Tony and worked with him and on some shocks and some setup stuff, and finally got what we needed underneath the car. We ran second to Derek the first night, and Derek had a fast hot rod the first night, and Tim ran third. And I mean, you can't say nothing about running in between 2 fast cars, you know. So we was really pleased, and come back the next night and just worked on it a little bit more and got it to where I really could feel the car real good, and ended up winning the next night. And we're back tonight to see what we can do. We won our heat tonight, so it's looking good. But if you go through the drivers, everybody's fast. But if you go through and ask the drivers, me and Kenny was talking just a minute ago, and he's like, man, I'm tired of finishing second. And I was like, it's only April, In May, there's usually a different guy fast throughout the year, different months, There's a lot of competitors here. I think there's 4. I think the last 5 years they had a different champion here. And I mean, it's just goes to show there's just so much. Kenny struggled, when I was fast, Kenny struggled. And now last year, Kenny had an awesome year. And now he's kind of, at the beginning of the year, he's kind of struggling a little bit. But, they got a new car coming out, and it's April. We race, 3 races, or on our 3rd race here, 4th race. So there's plenty of time left for everybody to get fast. So we're just going to enjoy it while it lasts, I'm out of Republic, Missouri. We race here a lot, Monette Speedway. I cut my teeth on that racetrack. I really love racing down there. It's fast but slick, So pretty much them 2 tracks locally, and then we stretch out to Batesville and down to Fort Smith. I'd really like to go to West Plains Legit Speedway, but with the new rules on these cars, we built a new car with a new rules package, and it just don't fit the rules down there. It's another thing we all 3 got in common. Jim, I can't say enough about that guy. He's outstanding engine builder. He's just phenomenal. For years I've had his motors, and just I always told him, man, I wish I had a car to show what your motor would do, you know, because I mean, he's built awesome power throughout my whole career, and every win I've got, I gotta thank him. You know, I kind of get on Facebook and get Kenny every now and then. We have a lot of fun together. I got a racing, Burl Woods Racing on there, and then I got my personal account. And I don't know, I'm not really too good on that, keeping them up to date, but every once in a while I'll get on there and throw something on there. I'd like to thank everybody that's involved with the car, you know, Jim and Sally, of course, Jim Odell and Vicky Odell. Without them, man, I'm living a dream because of them. So, and Tony Jackson Jr. on the hot rod, man, I mean, phenomenal car. And Tim works for Tony and builds these things, and you know, it's blood, sweat, and tears. You know, I know what it takes to put these things together, and it takes a lot of heart, and I can't thank Tim enough.
Good interview from our good friend Burl Woods. He's always got time to chat with you in the pits. Just make sure you have plenty of time as well. Burl actually won the second night out at Lucas Oil Speedway this year.
That's right. Yeah, to put that in perspective, Burl Woods and Derek Brown are actually your only two future winners thus far at the track, 4 races in. So, you know, they pretty well own the place.
Two very good drivers, two very respectful drivers. I think that they're going to make their mark, and they're going to be part of the reason that Lucas Oil Street Stocks have the success they're going to have.
We'll be right back. When we come back, I'm going to talk tubing just a little bit with our Tech Talk of the Week.
taşı dinmiyor gözümün yaşı. Ah, gelin eyle.
Alright everybody, what's up? Taz hanging out here at Go Fast Betty's, the craziest, rowdiest little crazy place at the Lake of the Ozarks. Betty's are gonna rock. Betty says, oh snap!
We're back on this week's Tech Talk. I'm going to kind of go over the three most popular types of tubing that most of these race car chassis are built out of. Starting out on the lower end, this is what they call HREW. What that stands for is hot rolled electric weld. By far, it's the cheapest, most economical tubing. Its downfall is wall thickness inconsistencies. It's a little bit softer of metal. It actually has a seamed weld in the middle of it. Next up from that would be DOM tubing. What DOM stands for is drawn over mandrel. Its downfall is it's about twice the cost of HREW. But the good thing about DOM tubing is it is a stronger tubing. Its wall thicknesses are much more consistent. Its IDs and ODs are much more consistent than the HREW. Here at the end, we finally have chromoly. This is kind of the creme de la creme of tubing. Its tensile strength is very high. It has a high memory. It's very consistent like DOM as far as the wall thicknesses and the ID and ODs. Its downfall is it is very expensive. It's probably twice again as much as the DOM. But particularly when you will see this used is mainly off-road vehicles, heavy use vehicles. It does make its way into the racing world, but for a little bit different purpose. Because of the higher tensile strength and the memory, car builders can use this in a thinner wall thickness, which saves weight. Particularly on the front end of these vehicles. One thing, especially for newcomers out there, people looking to buy used cars, if you run across a car that has chromoly tubing in it, or particularly chromoly fronts, be sure to look around the tubes for cracks and just be ready to weld. So, honestly, to be honest with you, probably 90% of your cars out there are going to be made with HREW. I particularly like to use DOM in the greenhouse in the 4-point area. And then if money is no object and you have a big budget, then throw down on the chromoly. But combined, this is what keeps you safe and what keeps your car intact.
Have you lost your spark, missed excitement and passion? There's a simple cure, and we have it right here at Lucas Oil Speedway. Indulge your motorsports passion with late model racing, sprint cars, modifieds, pro pulling, monster trucks, even drag boats. Cheer for all your local and national heroes as they celebrate the heartland tradition of American racing. No one has more adrenaline-fueled, high-octane, fire-breathing, earth-shaking thrills than Lucas Oil Speedway. There's great food, cool refreshments, and amusements for all ages. The nation's finest motorsports and a world of family entertainment. Get down to Lucas Oil Speedway, America's newest family fun destination.
Need ammo? Remember the Alamo. Looking for handguns, rifles, shotguns, ammo, or reloading components? Remember the Alamo. Alamo Arms in Montreal has a huge selection of new and pre-owned firearms and accessories like scopes, powders, and primers, hunting permits, and of course, ammo. Alamo Arms also buys, sells, and trades for guns, ammo, and reloading supplies.
Remember the Alamo!
Locally owned Alamo Arms in Montreal, next to the post office.
That pretty much wraps up our show for this week. Once again, we really appreciate you guys tuning in.
And we are also proud to announce that if you live in northern Arkansas or all of Missouri, you can watch us on Fidelity, Cable Channel 6, or Lake TV. We really appreciate you guys tuning in. We enjoy what we're doing. I hope you have a good time watching. Also, if you want to become involved with anything to do with us being on TV,
This madness.
hit us up Sean Cober at Big Planet Media. He'd be happy to get with you, and we'll get something together. Thank you, guys.